What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the GSN Sports Network podcast. I'm your host, John J. II, alongside a very special guest to the GSN pod, Kyle Lutz, the NBA expert of GSN. Kyle, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great, John. How about yourself?
Doing wonderful, man. Glad to have you on. We're really happy to have you. This is exciting. Obviously, we're getting to the finish
Long time
line.
coming.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, and we've been waiting to have you on here for a long time. Finally made it work, which I'm happy about. Going to have you on here a lot more, I'm hoping. But the NBA season is coming to a close. And what better time to talk about the NBA finals and the NBA as a whole than right now? There's a lot going on. There's a lot of moving parts. So I can't wait to get into all that with you tonight. But let's just talk about Indiana and OKC at face value. We'll dive a little bit deeper into it as the night progresses. But what do you have to say about this series? How do we get to this point with these two teams?
Oh man, long NBA season. 82 games finally came to an end. We got two juggernauts, honestly, when it comes to the offensive side and the defensive side. Those Pacers that are out there, they get to run and gun. They do plenty of it. Super high scoring team. I don't know if you've tuned into any of those games. I haven't been tapped in that much in the regular season, but as soon as those playoffs started, golly, I was watching them boys run, and that pace never changed. It's really hard to mess up a team that's really in their rhythm. And when a team can really run and stay running in the playoffs, keep that pace, it's hard to stop it. It's really hard to stop it. I mean, you got Lou Dort, you got Jay Will on the other side on OKC. Those are all NBA team guys. They just made, I think Lou Dort was first team, Jay Will second team. I don't know if Jay Will really deserved it, but either way, he's still a great defensive player, and they still got Alex Caruso, that guy's a bulldog out there. So they got a lot of stuff to be able to stop them. It's a really fast team, a team that was always going to want to run. So, I mean, it's kind of be a really good finals. Kind of reminded me of like that Bucks, Sun series a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, maybe now at this point, where, you're going to have some real pivotal games coming in, that game two, game three, the final game at the first game at home for Pacers is going to be crazy. So I really think, this is going to be a really good series. Not at face value. I didn't look too excited seeing the Pacers and OKC, but, I really started thinking about it. It's going to be a really good game, really good games.
Yeah, I'm excited too, man. And I look at Rick Carlisle on the sidelines, and just reminds me of the Malice at the Palace. And obviously he's lost some hair since those days. But just seeing Rick on the sidelines and see him get animated and seeing him win
Sure.
that game against the Knicks when everything was against him and Halliburton made that crazy, 1 in a million bounce off the backside of the
Goodness.
rim shot to force OT. Just to see the composure of Rick Carlisle in that situation, and it's really not a lot on the line, but you have
Right.
everything you have to set the tone in that series. So to see how he handled himself and how they roughed it out and won that game, how they did, it really just shows how gritty this Indiana
Oh,
Pacers
yeah.
team is.
Kind of makes you forget, kind of makes me almost remind you a little bit of that other team he took to the finals.
Yeah, no
The
kidding.
Dallas Mavericks in 2011. Oh
Yeah,
man, I mean, and their one-star show and Dirk. I mean, that
yeah,
wasn't a one-star show, but kind of reminds you a little bit of that little finals run that they had. We could call it a Cinderella team back then. They still
absolutely.
beat the Heatles. They beat the Heatles. So,
That's
I
true.
mean, it kind of reminisces of that. We got this young OKC team with one heck of a starting five, down to the other five people on the bench. That whole team is crazy. Kind of reminds me of that a little bit of that 2011 finals.
Definitely. I got a comment here from, I believe this is my brother Sam. Binkage 13, SGA going to have his way with the Pacers. Kyle, what do you have to say about that?
Definitely has the ability to. I mean, Nemhard, that guy is definitely a baller. He can definitely lock him up. But I mean, SGA, he's the MVP. He's got to be able to prove it. I really do think that he's going to prove it because I mean that's what he's supposed to do. He's got a lot of Robins on that team, but he's a real Batman too. So I think he really can have his way. I think he's probably going to be averaging 28, 29, maybe even 32 for the whole series. Honestly, I could see him just be going nuclear on the Pacers for real.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but I think too many people are, and they did this when they played the Knicks. Too many people slept on the
Yeah,
Pacers, and they were
for sure.
undervalued, I'd say, for the majority of that series. And I think that they're correcting themselves now, and it seems like Vegas really hasn't even corrected themselves. We'll talk about this not later on, but it's really just kind of impressive. And there's only so much we can really dissect about these two teams right now, just because we only have what to go off of for playoff basketball, what they've been able to
Right.
do and what they've been able to accomplish up until this point. Um, so that's really what it boils down to: is how good can they play in the postseason? You got two teams that are, I'd say, you got a lot of young players on both of these
Oh
teams.
yeah.
So that definitely plays into it. How is that lack of experience going to play into the result? I guess early projections. What do you got as far as the series goes? Do we see a game 7?
I don't see a game 7. I really don't. Um, but I really do still see it going in 6. I really feel like it's gonna be Pacers. I was hating on them all year, all season. I mean, this runs deep. I love these guys. So I mean, for to root for the Pacers, it's crazy for me to say, but I really would like to take those odds on those Pacers going out and just winning it all. They got some experience out there. They got Rick Carlisle. People like to sleep on them.
People love to sleep on him, and I'm not one of those people because I know what he's capable of,
Yeah, for sure.
and so do you. So that's important to hear. But let's jump into the talk of the town, which has been the breaking news of the day. Knicks fire head coach Tom Thibodeau. And now Tibbs was kind of, you hated looking at him when they were playing the Pistons, right? You just hated looking
Yeah.
at him. The camera would it would just pan right into his hair,
Oh
and you're like,
God, show me
damn.
Timothy. I'm
Damn
glad
it,
to
I
see
hate that
him than
guy, you
this
know?
guy. Golly, show me
Just pissed
Spike
you off.
Lee. God,
Oh,
somebody other than him.
Spike Lee is way worse than Tibbs, but I'm so glad the Knicks lost just because of Spike Lee's on the sideline. He's just so annoying to me.
Feel you,
Um,
man.
I'm glad you do. I'm glad you do. But what do you have to say about this? Why did the GMs at the New York Knicks franchise make this decision? Because he got the Knicks as far as they've ever got in the last 25 years. He's bringing
Yeah,
prosperity back to the Garden, and
yeah,
he's putting prominence back on the name of New York Knicks fans and players. And he's got a great team going. So why would they do this? Why would they continue to build on what they've accomplished this season?
man. 1990 was the last time that they made the Eastern Conference Finals. That's insane. That's a
Wow.
very long time and a very long drought to make the Eastern Conference Finals. And then they finally make it with Tibbs, with what he's built with them. I mean, shoot, didn't he coach Derrick Rose when he was playing for the Knicks? I mean, like he's been there for a minute now. He's built them up. He's seen the crappy rosters and he's seen this now. This roster is, in my opinion, extremely top heavy. I was looking up at like basketball reference. I mean, you got everybody for the next 3 years, I believe. Like it really kind of like blows my mind a little bit. You got Cat until 2028. You got OG till 29. You know, you got Brunson till 29. Mikal's here till 26. The whole team is here to run it back, essentially, if you really wanted to. Everybody's here. The only people you're really losing is possibly Precious Achiuwi, Achiuwi, see, Delon Wright, Campaign. I mean, like these are all easily replaceable people. Landry Shamet. They're running it back. Is it Cat? It's the second time he's got Tibbs fired
Holy
in
shit,
Tibbs'
that's right.
career. So what's going on with Cat? Is this a Cat
Damn.
issue? You know what I'm saying? Like
Cat might
breaking
be the
news. Carl
catalyst.
Anthony Towns might be the catalyst to this
Oh
because
my
it doesn't
gosh.
make sense. Tibbs is coaching his ass off out there. I mean, there's no way when Rick Carlisle said, hey, Campaign was getting a lot of time out there, and I'm not seeing him all that much. Did he really hype them up that or get in their heads that much? That's like, dang, maybe we were doing better when we had Campaign out there. Like I don't see that happening. I don't know why why they got rid of Tibbs. I mean, how he was playing that series, that's how he's supposed to play it. Maybe less DeLon Wright minutes, a little bit more Deuce McBride, but he was kind of stinking it up too. So
I
I
guess
think that he
let's
did a good job of the coaching.
absolutely. Well, I guess as far as his accolades go and why he was in the position he was and why he got the Knicks as far as they did, what can you attribute that to from Coach Tibbs?
Man, I mean, he got everything out of his players, Josh Hart, that was one of his things that he always preached on was, he's going to do whatever Tibbs tell him to do. He told him to go out there and play 48 minutes tonight because we got OT as well. He's going out there and he's playing all of it. And he never complained. He never harped about anything. This team was very tightly knit. They got rid of Homeboy, the Villanueva boys, and they brought in Mikal Bridges, and they still got everybody out of it. They still got effort, energy, hustle. I mean, this team is full of grit. We can't pretend like Jalen Brunson's not a 6 foot nothing guard that has a lot of grit. Karl Anthony Towns is considered the softest person on that team, and he's considered the best 3 point shooting big man in the world. So I mean, he got everything out of his players. So I don't know what more you can get out of this roster. It's like the Kenny Atkinson and the JB Bickerstaff. What more do you really think you're going to squeeze out of this towel to get this team to run it back to the finals? To the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't see that happening next year, and that's kind of sad on New York's part to get rid of Tibbs because that's a good coach.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I really didn't recognize his stardom and his prominence as a head coach in the NBA until he got fired and until he made it as far as he did.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
you rewind it back a little bit, and we can talk about that. We can bask in it. We can feel sorry for ourselves if we want to, but we can talk about it. I think enough time has passed at this point. So just based on the shirt that you're wearing, I know you're a Detroit Pistons
Yeah,
fan.
for
Um,
sure.
yeah, absolutely representing the 313. I love it. But what happened with the Pistons this year to make them fall short? Obviously, very young team as well. Got
Yeah.
some, couple 2 year guys in there.
Yeah.
So where did they fall short at? I don't think they were really ready to make it to an Eastern Conference final per se, but I thought they should have went and played the Celtics. What
I
made that
believe
not
so.
happen? Yeah.
You know, I think I'm gonna put it on. Golly, I'm drawing a brain fart on our GM, but the guy that took over everything, Trajan Langdon.
Yeah.
He said right off of rip, I'm not gonna rush anything. I'm gonna go exactly how I have it lined up. If we're above schedule and we're ahead of schedule, I'm not doing nothing to rush what I have set in place. Came in here to do a job. I'm gonna do it. And that's what he did. He brought in Wiley Vets, people that I already knew. I mean, I hit the group chat like 5 hours prior. I said Tobias Harris coming here on a 2 year deal, 20 mil, something like that. Bang, it happens. You know what I'm saying? Like he just knows what he's doing. He
I
got us
remember
here.
that. I remember that happened. I'm like, damn, does Kyle have some connections over there
Yeah, I got
in
some
the head
knowledge. I
office?
got some inside connections, man. I'm telling
Holy
you.
shit, you sniffed that
You
one
got the
out
right
into
insider
existence.
here. And look,
Jeez, man.
Tobias Harris is a stud. That's a consistent 17 and 7 a night, dang near every single night. You can't get that
Oh yeah.
in the NBA for $20 million. You can't find that. You brought that in, brought Wiley Vets, got in Tim Hardaway Jr., brought him home, so his pops is sitting there watching him every single game. Got the Little Caesars Arena, the Pizza Palace back hopping again. That place was starting to get the tickets. You're back looking like Lions tickets prices. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? So it's getting to the point of where everybody's starting to believe, starting to buy in, but we're just a little too young. There's no need to rush it at that time. Now it's time to maybe start looking in another direction for a number two, but we still got Jaden Ivey coming back. Cade's got to be stronger. He's got to be more dominant. I'm not trying to come on here and bash my dude, but we can honestly say we lost that series because Cade wasn't an alpha. He was missing too many shots. He was being too passive. And when it came down to it to make that extra pass to my boy Malik Beasley, we got butterfingers. We're just not ready. It's as simple as that.
Very well said. I was going to ask you. You took the words out of my mouth as far as what happened in that very last series, and I think you just said it perfectly. I don't think you pass that ball off to Beasley in that situation. If you are the alpha of that team, you are one of the biggest reasons your team had got to that position in the season. Then you have
Yeah.
to execute, and that was Cade's shot to miss.
Yep.
That was Cade's shot to miss, and you got the
Not
team
Cade's
there,
ball to
but
pass.
to be
Yep.
so lackluster, you can't blame Beasley for having the butterfingers there, even because
Nope.
he's
I
not
wouldn't
expecting
expect that
Cade to pass
pass.
that. Hell no,
No.
nobody did.
Nope. Mm-mm. I
So
definitely didn't.
I
We
mean,
can also
Cade's
say
got to be better than
I'm
that.
not trying to throw anything on JB because I think that he coached his ass off.
Absolutely,
But
absolutely.
why are we taking Asar Thompson out of the game when he's been locking Jalen Brunson now and the dude doesn't even have sweat on his forehead? Well, I don't remember the minutes on it because I tried to get this out of my head, but I'm pretty sure he took him out with like 4 minutes left. We were up seven, something along those lines. But we had the game in hand to be able to go force ourselves that game seven. And we took Asar out, and that dude didn't even have sweat dripping down his dang sideburns.
Well, let me tell you something
So,
about Asar Thompson real quick. That man has to just, and I hope he's doing them right now as we're speaking. Get your ass to the free throw line, start shooting some free throws, because he got to the line more than anybody combined in a lot of those games in that series.
yeah,
He's got to the line. He can draw the fouls. He can find
absolutely.
the open. He's being found down low, and he's
Hmm.
going up and dunking it like he should, because he really don't even have a short range jumper either. Like,
Reminds me
get
of
the free
Aaron
throws.
Gordon when he first went to the Magic, when he was in the Magic days, just in there in the short roll. Just sit there and be ready for it with your hands like this. We're gonna feed you.
Absolutely.
Just excelling at that. Get out there and run. He had his blood clot issues and he had all that. Maybe they have to take him out. So I'm not trying to harp on that one or beat that dead horse, but damn it, that is our series on the line. You keep Asar Thompson in there shutting down Brunson
Yeah.
when he's shooting like 1 for 6 or whatever every single time he's being guarded on him. And then what happens? Goes down there and he scores on like Tim Hardaway Jr. or something. You know what I'm
Dude,
saying?
there
So
was a
it's
lot
like,
of crazy
oh
shit that
my
happened in that
God.
series. I mean, that was a different game, but totally crazy enough situation to be
Hmm.
relatable and talked about.
For sure.
I mean, and that's what I said, because a lot of people asked me about this, and people were talking in the group chat about it. And yeah, was it a foul? Yes, it was. But do you
Yeah.
ever want a game to come down to that? Absolutely not.
No.
So I guess in that moment, regardless if you want the game to come down to that, or not, it was a gritty series, two real gritty teams, two teams that really couldn't play well at home, either one of them.
No.
So you gotta make that call, though. I think, in that after everything's said and done, regardless if they should have been there or not, that call's got to get made. And to have no call, and because there's no call on the floor, you can't go
Yep.
back and make any adjustments. That's just an unfortunate ending to a game.
For sure. Absolutely. Enough said on that one for sure.
Nothing more you
We
can
can't say
say.
nothing else if there's no call on it, so we can't talk on it.
Right. Okay. So real quick, what about Detroit? What do they do going forward? What does JB Bickerstaff do to reevaluate what he's going to do with the players that are coming back? Obviously, Cade stuck it out for this long. I think he's going to continue to
Yeah.
build in Detroit. How does he continue to build around himself while also getting over his own shortcomings in this Knicks series? How do they do that? How do they bounce back?
I think Cage is really I think this is his second year out of like going into year five that he's had a healthy offseason. You know what I'm saying? So like that stuff definitely matters. I'm not that much of an athlete, but I've definitely had years where going and trying to work out while you're hurt ain't easy. So, him coming back on a nice healthy season going into a healthy off season, it's definitely gonna help his game tremendously. But when it comes to the Pistons as a whole, nah, no running it back, none of that. We're gonna have to make some sort of move, some sort of splash. I don't like the idea of Booker. I do kind of like the idea to toy around with it. They're just gonna be out. They're gonna be asking too much. We're gonna have to get rid of Stu or Duran. We're gonna have to get rid of Asar or Ronald Holland the third. We're gonna have to get rid of. We're going to get rid of a core piece that we are not going to be happy with. If that's the case, give me Jaden Ivey back, honestly. I know it's a small sample size, but the dude was shooting 38, 39% from three, 50% from the line, averaging 17, 18 points a game. That's a number two. Jaden Ivey can be that number two. And I see Cade and Jaden coexisting, being able to share the rock and share the floor together, or if anything, have those minutes be staggered. The only person that's really been like Nas Reed. Give me Nas Reed. We need somebody to play alongside Duran so that Stewart can come in and actually play that backup five, lock that down. That's fine. Isaiah Stewart's one of the best rim protectors in the league. We can have him play the five, but we need another big man, and we need Ron Holland to become Tobias Harris, and we need Asar Thompson to make some free throws. And I think that we're good if we just get a Nas Reed, like literally Nas Reed, and maybe like make a Marcus Sasser become better. somehow, some way. Because I know when Marcus Sasser leaves, that man's gonna ball out. So we got to figure out how to get Marcus Sasser into the rotation.
Okay, real quick, I could talk about you. I could talk about the Detroit Pistons with you all night,
For
and it
sure.
looks like Aaron Walker is kind of echoing what you're saying. Say Pistons need to make a major move. Yes, I would agree with that.
I agree
Um,
for sure.
so when it comes to the Detroit Bad Boys, when it comes to the resurgence of the Detroit Bad Boys, and obviously, where the hell is Isaiah Stewart? I mean, is he okay or what the hell? Why is he sitting
Well,
out?
what was that? What was all that? That one's always kind of rubbed me wrong since, the end of the playoffs for the Pistons.
Yeah, we need
There
that
wasn't
grittiness. We
that's
need that
and they
grittiness in
didn't
that
say
Knicks
anything
series.
about it. The medical staff kind of swept it under the rug. That series would have been way different if Isaiah Stewart was playing that series. And I know that's a fact. You know what I'm saying? Isaiah Stewart is a dog. He's proven. There was a spot where Carl Anthony Towns tried to sun Tobias Harris, and Tobias Harris is sitting there like, "Who are you?" That wasn't gonna happen when Isaiah Stewart's out there. That's a completely different thing. So when it comes down to it, Isaiah Stewart and that Pistons medical thing was definitely funky, and I don't think it was right. But hopefully he comes back, and I think that Isaiah Stewart needs to stay a Detroit Piston for as long as Cade Cunningham is here.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think he's got to figure it out, and they got to
Yep.
kind of just reel it back in with Isaiah Stewart. He can't leave. He's built too much. He's kind of like a Cade, where something
Yeah.
massive is going to have to come in. These guys are becoming staples of the
Yeah.
Detroit Pistons, which I love to see that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got to be something that comes back, kind of like it did back in '04, back in the Larry Brown era. And you see it
Going to
happen with
work.
certain players and certain teams. But Detroit, more than anybody, needs that. It's been too much of a revolving door in the last
Yeah.
couple of years where guys aren't staying, other than Cade, obviously, and Isaiah's been there for a couple of years. But I'd love to see more staple guys. But because he's a staple guy, he's got to be playing in that Knicks series unless he's got a
Yeah.
torn ACL.
Yep.
I
What's
mean,
going
come on
on?
now.
Like I know. Like I said, to start it off with the Pistons and Mr. Langdon saying, I'm not rushing anything. Bringing Isaiah Stewart back into that series probably would have been rushing things. You know what I'm saying? We weren't supposed to win that series anyway. What happens if we win that series anyway? We're going against the Celtics.
Right. They wanted
You
to win it
know,
without him. They wanted to win it without him. And
absolutely.
obviously they had what it took to almost get it done. You had a
Yep.
couple missing pieces that didn't allow for that to happen.
Yep.
But I think you look at it, you chalk it up as a good learning year, a good learning
Hmm.
experience just to get a taste of the playoffs, which they haven't had in forever. Um,
For real.
so and to double, I think they tripled their win count from last year.
Tripled.
So yeah, tripled. So you got to look at those accomplishments and chalk them up as some dubs in the win column. So we'll consider it. We'll consider it done. Perfect. Cool. So bet with Jin, the bet with Jin betting corner. Well, we got to talk about the NBA Finals, Indiana and OKC. The spread has opened at Indiana plus 9.5, which I was looking at that like, damn, they're really. If I thought
Yeah.
the Pacers were undervalued against the Knicks, they're really undervaluing them against the Thunder.
For sure.
So, what do you have to say about this, and how would you handicap this game if you had to bet on it?
Oh man. If I'm being honest, I don't see. There's no way that OKC beats them by 10 points. I understand it's the first game at home. It's the feel out game. I'm not too big on betting on the first game one. Game one's not that's a feel out game for sure. For them to win by 10, it is game one. It is a feel out game, but I don't see them winning by 10. I would take the under on that.
Okay, take the under. Okay, so you're taking the under with the final score. Or you're taking Indiana plus. You're taking them with the points.
I think I'm taking Indiana with the points
Gotcha. I didn't see what the over under was on that game.
for
Um,
them. No, I didn't either.
but like you said, it's a feel out game. You feel it out. You see how these guys play in their own arenas, and it's going to take a couple games for this series to develop. You'd like it to be tight. You'd like it to be like a 2-1,
For sure.
or obviously a 2-2 would be sweet too. Go to a game 5 tied up. So, do you think it's going to be a competitive series, or do you think? I think you said Nick. Would you say Pacers in 5 potentially? But you said there's a lot of different possibilities out there. I guess. What
I
do you think?
think,
What do you think about that?
I think it can go Pacers in 6 is what I would like to
That's right.
say and like put my bet in, but I honestly still can see OKC winning it in 5 games. Like literally just in 5 games, I can see OKC wrapping it up. Oh, I think
Wow.
that this game, this is going to be a competitive, gritty, game threes matter, all of that stuff. Those pivotal games really will just matter super. I mean, it's always like that for every playoff game or every playoff series. But when it really comes down to it, these two teams match up very well together. You got a superstar defense team, and then you got this team also that's got one of the best offenses the league's seen in years. So I don't know. I think that it can really go either way. It's honestly juggernauts fighting, but people don't want to say that because it's Oklahoma City Thunder and the Indiana Pacers. But what it really comes down to, those are two juggernaut teams, and that they can really, really swing. So it's going to be a competitive series, and I really think that most of those over unders are going to be. I'd probably start taking some overs because those teams are going to be out there running, and they're going to be scoring a lot of points.
Absolutely. I think just because they haven't been juggernauts in the last couple of years, or in a while,
Right,
right? You can look at OKC not really being a juggernaut since the Kevin Durant, well, not Kevin Durant, mostly Russell Westbrook days. Kevin Durant too. It's the same era. But really, OKC hasn't been putting themselves on the map, just like the Pacers haven't really been putting themselves on the map. But yeah, you got to put these guys in the juggernaut category just for what they've accomplished with the youth on their team and all the wins and all the accomplishments that they've stacked up this season. So it's very impressive.
for sure.
Good stuff. Moving on, we're going to talk about the Stanley Cup Finals, Edmonton versus Florida. Now, Kyle isn't a big NHL guy. He already told me that, but we're going to dive into this a little bit. Obviously, got a rematch of last year with Edmonton and Florida coming into the equation, and it's exciting. But I got to say this: Edmonton's been playing some really good hockey. Okay, Connor McDavid is bringing this team together. Hopefully, but it just comes down to the Stanley Cup Finals. Now we have the same thing. We have the matchup, rematch, etc. Are we going to see a lot of the same, or are we going to see something new out of this Edmonton Oilers team? We've seen them crumble in the past in a Stanley Cup Final, and they really haven't been able to bring it back since the 80s, since the Wayne Gretzky era of the Edmonton Oilers. But can they bring it back? Can they find a resurgence? Can they beat the juggernauts of hockey, which are the Florida Panthers? I mean, it's something that I can't. I'm just waiting to see it happen. Kyle, we were just talking about the Stanley Cup Finals. What do you have to say about it? If you had to say anything, I already told the people you're not a big hockey guy, but you want to chime in anyway. Now we know it's a rematch of last year's Stanley Cup Finals. What do we have to say about this year's? Oh, we might have lost him. We'll get him back. But I'm counting on Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid. And listen, he has to rally this team. He's like the Cade Cunningham of the Edmonton Oilers. So if he can't bring them together, then nobody can. So we'll have to look forward to it. Moving on, finally, the Gin Sports Network Challenge 6 is coming up, and it's exciting. It's going to be a fall one this year. It's happening in September 13th, 2025. I'm really excited about it. A lot of us are really excited about it, and it's the best two-man event of the year. So make sure you get out there, take part in the event, and we hope to see you out there on September 13th, 2025. And I actually just checked out the scorecards at Briar Ridge, and damn, do they look good. I'll have to post a screenshot or something of what they look like, but yeah, it's good marketing. It's good marketing to say the least. So I'll leave it at that. Cool. Well, we will leave it at that. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check us out on social media. Find us on our website, ginsportsnetwork.com, and find us on our link tree. All of our links are in there. Linktree ./Gin Pros, as at the end of it. You can find it in the description of this podcast. Find us on social media at Gin Sports Network and on Twitter at Gin Pros. So we look forward to seeing you guys here next time. I'm John J. II with the Gin Sports Network podcast. Have a great night.